What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV, back again with another video. It's a bit of a disappointing one, to be quite honest. The news has just come out late last night that Manuel Lanzini, who we all know got injured while warming up for the World Cup with Argentina, his injury is worse than he first thought, and he will miss the entire season next year. It's one of the worst injuries you can get as a footballer. In the past, I think it's been career-threatening injury. It could still be for Manuel, but we wish him all the best, and you know, hope he comes back fighting fit. And I know he'll be working hard, and I know he'll be trying to get back, but it's a 15-month injury. It's a really bad rupture of the cruciate ligament. It's the worst that you could do as a footballer, and he was expected to be back around January, February time. It is now, after tests and I'll guess surgery, been discovered that he will miss 15 months of football. So that takes us well into the new Premier League season, 19-20, I think it is, which is disappointing. It's disappointing for the club, it's disappointing for Manuel. As I said, we wish him all the best, but we need to replace Manuel Lanzini for a year. I think because of the insurance with Argentina, they will cover his entire wages for the year. So we've got that as disposable income to bring someone else in. Now, what are the options for bringing someone in for a year? Do we buy? Do we loan? What will be the best way? Now, I think you're always looking to build a squad, so it'd be preferable to buy. And there are a couple of options available. Obviously, the most obvious, for free, who would just need wages, and you could subsidise it with the money we get from Argentina, and the money we don't have to pay out for Manuel Lanzini's wages, is obviously Jack Wilshere, available on a free transfer, leaving Arsenal at the end of this month. In about 4 or 5 days' time, he'll be a free transfer. There'll be much interest in his signature, but we need to put ourselves at the forefront, and I believe we have already been interested in him. He's a great player. I know his injury record isn't great, so that goes against him, but he played nearly an entire season for Bournemouth the year before last when he was on loan there, and he done more or less a season at Arsenal last year. And to be honest with you, people say about his talent, he was one of the better players for Arsenal when he played, and I know a lot of Arsenal fans think the same. So he's an obvious target. His wages could be a bit of a stumbling block. The advantage we've got over other teams is we know he was a West Ham fan as a child. He gets to stay in London. He can come over and be part of our revolution. He'll definitely get in a team, even if Lanzini comes back. He'll still get in a team in our midfield. He is a definite possibility. Now, there are other targets that come out a few days ago. Ex-West Ham employee said we are interested in Ross Barkley, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, or Danny Drinkwater, or on loan. Now, Danny Drinkwater on loan would be a great signing, but at the moment we need to look for an attacking option to replace him, because we can't replace him. So Barkley and Loftus-Cheek, who's been very impressive for England so far, could be the answer to our problems. If they're willing to loan one of them out, I would definitely take them, because Ross Barkley, although he didn't have a great season with Chelsea last year, I think he spent a lot of it injured. He was up there or thereabouts with Dimitri Payet the season before for assists and stuff like that. So he would be a definite target. Someone that's gone a little bit under the radar since he's moved to Chelsea and will look to get his career back on track. Could be a perfect opportunity for him. Loftus-Cheek, however, I think could be a bit more difficult because of the loan spell he spent at Crystal Palace last year. He will be in high demand because his performances in the last couple of England games have been very good. He's an England international, which raises his price. Will they be willing to loan him out? I'm not sure. They may be looking to shift him on. You know what Chelsea are like, and if they're looking to shift him on, I think because he's in England international, I think he'll come with a 25-30 million pound price tag, which I don't think that we will be willing to spend. So if we can get Barkley on loan, brilliant. If we can get Wilshere, brilliant. Obviously, we're still looking at Felipe Anderson, which I'll talk about in the transfer video a little bit later. But the stumbling block is the price tag. Does he play central? I thought he was more of a winger, but apparently he does play central as well, so he could be the answer. If we're still bidding for him and we get a deal wrapped up for him, he could be the answer. But we always want competitive, to be competitive in that market. And with Wilshere and Barkley, as I say, Argentina will cover his wages, so that gives that a disposable income to get one of these boys in. I would prefer Wilshere because after next year he will be ours as well. He's 26 years old. Barkley, if he's available on loan, will do that. If he's available for a cheap transfer, do that. But I would prefer to keep someone, because what's the point in loaning? So you know, you're just borrowing until he comes back, and then you know the competition goes. If you get Wilshere, it's someone that will compete with him when he comes back and pushes him, and you know, hopefully teaches him and pushes Manuel Lanzini on. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to be back so swift with this really bad news, but it has to be done. It has to be covered. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV. We've got more transfer videos come along, and post-match pint will be back this Thursday. Internationally, we'll be carrying it on all through the summer as far as England go on a tournament. So England versus Belgium, there will be a post-match pint, and so don't forget to join us for that. Thank you very much for joining us. One thing left to say, come on you Irons.